All right, so let's write our super sentence for obituary, right? So we want to make sure that we start with what? We start with the subject, and after we have our subject, we then go on to our verb, and then we build on the other parts to make it super. Yes? Okay. So I'm just going to move it down so that you guys can see. Okay. So remember, the definition is at the top. So obituary is a noun. That means a newspaper article that tells about the life of someone who has died. Okay, so think about in our text today. Who could possibly have an obituary? Who might actually have an obituary? Charlotte. Okay, so who is that person? Mason.
The Westing man.
The old man Westing, right? Or what'd you say?
Mr. Westing.
Mr. Westing. Okay, so if Mr. Westing is actually dead, he's going to have an obituary, right? So because obituary is a noun, could we put that in our subject?
Yes.
We could, right? We could put down Mr. Westing's obituary. That could be the subject of our sentence. Now, Mr. Westing's obituary, what could it, we have to do our verb next. What could it be doing? Amalia? It could be telling us about his life. I like that. Okay. So, telling us about his life. All right. So that could be our sentence, right? Mr. Westing's obituary is telling us about his life, right? Is that a super sentence? No. So let's build on. We could do a when did Mr. Westing's have his obituary? Or where? Or why? Or how? You guys tell me, which one do you want to fill in? Which one should we fill in first? Hartley? Why? Okay. Why did Mr. Westing's obituary tell us about his life? Why would it tell us about his life? Jane?
Maybe because people wanted to know
Because people wanted to know what?
how his life went.
Okay, maybe because people wanted to know how his life went. Aubrey? Because he died, right? Why else is there going to be an obituary? Because he's died. He's dead, right? Okay, so we could say because he died. Okay, so Mr. Westing's obituary is telling us about his life because he died. All right, let's add on something else. Kai?
The where could be in the newspaper.
Ooh, the where could be in a newspaper, because we did learn that up here, that usually it's in a newspaper, right? So the where could be in the newspaper. All right. Should we add on anything else, or do you think that's okay for now?
Okay.
Okay, so you think we're ready to start to build our sentence? Yes? Okay, so what should we start with? What should we start with? Archer. Ooh, in the newspaper. I like that, to start with the where. So we could say, in the newspaper, all right, and I'm going to give myself a little check to know that I included my where. So in the newspaper, what could I do next? Charlotte. The subject, right? So in the newspaper, Mr. Westing's obituary Nora?
The verb.
The verb. Now look at that. We have telling us about his life. But in the newspaper, Mr. Westing's obituary is telling us about his life and what do we have to include now? What do we have to include now? Colton,
The why.
the why is telling us about his life because he died. And then a period, right? So now let's check it to see if we have all our parts. So do we have our subject?
Yes.
Our subject is Mr. Westing's obituary, yes. We have our where, it's happening in the newspaper. What is happening is telling us about his life, right? And why is the obituary telling us about his life?
Because he's dead.
Because he died or he's dead, right? Now is that a super sentence?
Yes.
It is. We have our subject, we have our verb, and we have 2 additional details that we added. And we made sure that we started with a
Uppercase.
capital letter and we ended with
Period.
a period. Very good.